You think about some of the great campaigns that we all love and know. We just know their jingles, don't we? Beans, Means, Heinz. Remember that one? The Honey Monster. But do you remember when Yorkie was for men only? Do you remember that? The Yorkie bar. Couldn't do that nowadays. You'd be shot down in flames. But these were the things, of course, that really helped make a brand. And when you think about it, a brand is everything now, because we talk about it being brand influencers on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. But really, it's been around forever. People are influenced by images. One of the most iconic images, definitely, of the 1950s was this, Mr. Frank Sinatra. There he was, of course, singing the beautiful songs that we all love and know, arranged by the superb Nelson Riddle. And it was the image of the lonely man smoking a cigarette, a little hat tilted to one side, that said everything that we needed to know about this particular individual. Over here, you see, in the United Kingdom, they realised the power of that particular brand image. And so what they decided to do was capitalise on that and even go a stage further. As ever, let me explain. It's lovely to see you, and as ever, thank you so much for taking the time out to join me today. Nice to have your company. Yes, iconic images are everything, aren't they? Whether it be a building like Buckingham Palace, or indeed something a little bit more that we see so often. We just literally, we know exactly what it is, the colour, the lettering, the branding, we just go and buy it because we know it, we feel safe. When you're launching something new, you have to sometimes capitalise on that. And that's exactly what this tobacco company did way back in 1959. Now, what they actually started to do was, to try and get the superstar singer himself, Frank Sinatra, who was back and forth to London making albums and appearances, all sorts of stuff. Now, let's not forget, of course, Frank wasn't too averse to the world of advertising, already done quite a few in his time. Oh yes, people forget now and they remember their superstars, but everybody starts somewhere. Even Joan Crawford had to do another brand of cola in the 1940s when money was running a little bit thin. You see how these things work now. Now, what's interesting with the Strand cigarette, it was the sort of cigarette that was supposed to convey, glamour, sophistication, all of that sort of stuff. And their tagline, as many people know watching in the United Kingdom, was, "You're never alone with a Strand." But sadly for them, Frank Sinatra decided to turn down the opportunity, not only to have an important role in that advertising campaign, but also to sing the theme tune too. So they decided to ramp it up a little bit further by sending free packets of the brand, a brand new brand, to, of course, the very public smoker, Princess Margaret, in the hope that she might be seen out and about with a packet, and then, of course, that would be instantly done. That really, Margaret was a little too clever for that. I'm sure she smoked them, shall we say, but I don't think she was going to be caught out with free advertising. So what happened was this. They decided to basically come up with one of the most iconic ads of all time. But the sad thing is, even with this iconic ad that everybody knows and loves, it simply didn't work. But why? Launched in 1959 with the tagline, "You're never alone with a Strand," alongside the Lonely Man theme, which was sung by the brilliant Cliff Adams singers. The ad itself was written by John May, a very much respected ad campaign man who really thought he'd hit pay dirt. So did everybody else. On the newly fledgling commercial television, they screened the ads and everybody appeared to like them originally. Now, the dark, brooding man that you see looking like Frank Sinatra is none other than the actor and voiceover star Terence Brooke. They literally copied every single thing they could to try and make this a success. Sadly though, yes, it wasn't the success that they'd hoped. Apparently, you see, people decided that being alone with a Strand signified that in fact you were a lonely person and that you wouldn't get friends. So very quietly, very quickly in the early 1960s, they binned the brand, renaming it Embassy Cigarettes. And this was a totally different style of ad. What they did with Embassy was, a man was at a party standing alone, suddenly he opens the cigarettes and everybody's around him, basically saying, if you've got Embassy, you've got friends. Footnote as well, alongside the beautiful Cliff Adams singers, was another person who enjoyed phenomenal success as a solo artist later on in the 60s. That's right, the very beautiful Anita Harris, good friend of mine, and of course a former Vegas showgirl too, who also sang directly into the blue eyes of Frank Sinatra. It's a funny world, show business, isn't it? And that's exactly how you could find yourself, quite frankly, alone with a strand, but without the sales to back up, of course, what people felt was an incredible marketing campaign. It's funny to think, isn't it, that Frank Sinatra possibly could have turned it all around. Although, would he have found himself all alone in the Strand with simply nobody buying the cigarettes? Either way, he would have pocketed in today's money allegedly around about £1 million. Not bad for simply being alone, is it? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.